Okay, welcome to the second in the SmarterHash video series, where I'm going to spend a little time and talk about coins and coin mining and touch some on SmarterHash. But for you new miners, and even for some people that may not fully understand, excuse me, I'm going to bring up a chart. So here are four people holding pieces of a pie. Forget the fact that it has this text on here, but that's irrelevant. But this is kind of the way that I envision every coin on a daily basis. There's only so many pieces of the pie that have to be shared by a number of people. And let's assume that this person right here has about 40% of the network hash. This person has about 15%. Maybe this person has 25 and this person has the balance. And when you think about a coin, I want you to think about the fact that it's a pie, and that pie doesn't get any bigger. Coins are not bottomless pits of money on a daily basis. Each coin only produces a certain amount of blocks, and of course blocks have rewards, but more importantly, every coin only produces a certain dollar amount per day. Now, of course, that dollar amount can go up if the value of the coin increases. However, unless Bitcoin or Litecoin goes up fairly dramatically in value, or the coin itself goes up dramatically in value, you're not going to see dramatic differences in the value of a coin on a daily basis. For instance, if I just resort this column and I pull up 42 coin, actually 42 coin is doing really well. It's gone up over 20% in the past day or two, and it's not a bad investment right now. It's up to 6.18 BTC per coin, and if you're not familiar with 42 coin, and by the way, it will be mined out in about a year. The block reward for a 42 coin is 0.000042, and 42 coin generates a block every 42 seconds. So it's fairly consistent during the day. But a couple of days ago, on a daily basis, this coin was producing somewhere just a few dollars less than $100. Now, what's interesting, take 42 coin for instance. I've mined this coin heavily in the past, and what I've seen is that it typically averages about 1,500 to 2,300 megahash per day on average. So right now it's a little bit low, but it's rising, and it's probably rising because people see that the fact that it's gone up 20% in value in the last 2 days. But the bottom line is, right now this coin is going to produce $125 a day. Now, if I take a look at the network hash, I see it's 1,865. If I had 1,865 megahash at my disposal right now, and I started mining 42 coin, that would give me 50% of the network hash, because I'd have to add my 1,865 to the existing network hash of 1,865, and that would give me 50%. And 50% of $125 is $62.50, something like that. So it's probably not a bad deal. All right. If I typed in 100 for my mega hash, if I click on my column heading here and I take a look down the list, Digicoin would be number 1, but down the list here, 42 coin is in the number 5 spot. And they're all fairly close together. So it's not a bad deal. But getting back to the chart, if, for instance, you found a coin that hardly anybody else was mining, chances are you would get just about all the coins during the day. Just to give you a little background, it is February of 2015 now. Back in June and July of last year, people had pretty much overlooked 42 coin, and it was down at about $4 bitcoins in terms of value, but the network hash was down around 700. So it was a pretty good place to make money for about 6 or 8 weeks, and then somebody on one of the forums started shooting their mouth off about how great 42 coin was and that you should be mining it, and then all of a sudden the network hash went from 700 mega hash up to about 1500 mega hash, and my daily profits were cut in half. So if you find a really good coin to mine, my recommendation is, if you want to maximize your profits, don't go run out and tell all your friends, because they're going to start mining it, and they're going to take a piece of it. Just remember, these numbers that these coins generate on a daily basis don't change dramatically. So the more people that mine the coin, the less you get. So if you find a really good coin, keep your mouth shut. So let's get back to the pie chart here. So going around here, we have 4 miners all throwing in a different amount of hash, and depending on the amount of hash they throw in, typically, percentage-wise, they're going to get back out a dollar value. That is a percentage of whatever the coin yields. Now, there's some coins that it's just not even worthwhile going after. And sometimes I look at these numbers and I shake my head in disbelief that people are actually mining these coins. For instance, let's roll down the list here and take a look at Nautilus coin. Well, Nautilus coin has 125 mega hash being thrown at it right now. And its block reward is 0.1 coins, and it generates about 1,440 blocks a day. That's the average, right? So if you had 100 mega hash at your disposal and you mined Nautilus coin, what you'd get back is 94 cents a day. So there's one of two things going on. Number one, who is ever mining this coin thinks that it's going to really go up in value and doesn't care about profits. Or number two, whoever's ever mining this coin doesn't know anything and thinks they're probably going to make some money. But if you take that 100 mega hash and I sort this column, there's a lot better places to put your mega hash. For instance, Digicoin right now on a daily basis, if this number 1647 doesn't change, your 100 mega hash gives you 5.7% of network hash, and you're going to make $8 a day, or $8.73 a day. And $8.73 a day is a lot better than what I saw down at the bottom of this list for Nautilus coin, which was 94 cents. 8 to 9 times as much money. So when I fire up SmarterHash and I plug in my hash rate, the first thing I do is I click on this income column and I sort descending. I want to see what's paying the best down to what's paying the worst. And sometimes a coin looks really good, but then at the same time, if I look to the right and I see that there's a thumbs down, I may not even consider it. It could be near the top of the list. But right now, for instance, AriCoin, even though over a daily basis it will probably generate $5.43 for me, right now it's generating zero, because in the last 15 minutes it hasn't generated a single block. In the last 30 minutes it hasn't generated a single block. And in the last 1 hour, its block rate is basically about 25% of what it typically does in a day. And over the last 3 hours, it's about 60% of what it does in a day. And apparently there's a reason for it. If I look at the composite chart, and sometimes the reasons aren't readily apparent, but if you look at some of the data, you can figure things out. Well, difficulty doesn't look extraordinarily high. Blocks don't look too bad. And the hash rate is kind of low right now. So your guess is as good as mine, but the bottom line is that this coin is just not producing much in the way of revenue right now. So I may want to hold off on that. And I may want to go up here and take a look at, okay, Digicoin. It's got a thumbs up, which means that it's producing blocks at a higher rate than normal. All right. All four of my recent averages are in the green, which means all of them are rising. The other thing is, what I like is that my network hash right now is substantially lower than the 24-hour average for network hash. All right, and the difficulty is dramatically lower. It's 1/3 of what it's averaged over the last day, and the number's in the green in terms of value, which means the coin value is rising. So there are some basics to look for in terms of trying to pick a coin. And the other thing is, don't forget what I mentioned in the first video about the buy wall. If you mine coins, you want to make sure that there are buyers out there for those coins. And there are a few coins where there's sometimes not many buyers. You might eventually find buyers, but you may have to hang on to your coins for a week or two, which brings up investment strategy, which I'm not going to talk about because it's there's certainly a lot more people much more qualified than me to talk about investment strategies. But my basic premise is that when I go to an exchange and I take a look at the offers, and then I go back and I take a look at the price of that coin over the past week or 2 weeks, I pick out a number in my mind. I typically don't sell right away because most of the bid offers are lower than what you'd really want to take for the coin, unless the coin is really on the rise and you think it's going to peak pretty soon. Then you'd sell immediately. But most of the time I put my coins out there for sale, I set a price, and come back another day or 2 days later and check to see if they've sold or not. Typically, I just don't get real anxious to sell coins or panic, because panic selling is not an investment strategy as far as I'm concerned. So that concludes the second video in SmarterHash. The third video will be out soon, and it will talk about how to set up alerts, how to manage alerts, and why you would want alerts. Again, thanks for your time. I hope this has been helpful. Over and out.